Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical idea, one that could totally change how you think about education. What if true knowledge isn't something you have to go out and learn, but something you just need to uncover inside yourself?
So let's just start with a huge question. What if the way we've all been taught to learn, in school, college, our whole lives, is fundamentally backward? What if we've been spending all this time trying to fill a bucket that was actually never empty to begin with?
All right, so let's get right into the problem. The core idea here is that our modern view of education has this one massive flaw.
And this really frames it perfectly, doesn't it? For so many of us, education has just become this race to get a good job, to make more money. The whole system is geared towards cramming facts, passing exams, and beating the person next to you. And in that whole process, our actual inner potential, our real culture of learning, it just gets completely lost.
Now, what's the result of all that? Well, it's just like this. An education that's only built on memorizing stuff without any deep internal understanding, it's just not stable. Sure, you might get the degree, but do you actually have the knowledge? You might land the job, but do you have the wisdom you need to really navigate life?
So, if education isn't about filling a pail with a bunch of facts, then what is it? Well, the alternative idea is that true education is about lighting a fire that's already there inside you.
Here's the absolute core of the idea, and it comes from the Vedas. All knowledge, everything, is already within us. It's perfect and it's absolute. So education isn't really about learning something new. It's simply the process of taking away all the layers of ignorance that are covering up what you already know.
This is such a great metaphor, right? Just think of your mind as this perfect mirror, one that's capable of reflecting anything and everything. But over time, it just gets covered in dust, distractions, wrong ideas, ignorance. The whole goal of education, then, isn't to get a brand new mirror. It's just to clean the one you've always had.
So that leads to the obvious question. How exactly do we clean the mirror? Well, the source material here proposes a very specific tool, one that's often surrounded by a lot of mystery: meditation. Let's just try and demystify this for a second. According to this way of thinking, meditation has a really simple, really practical definition. It's just the act of putting your mind on one single thing and keeping it there. That's it. It's just an exercise to train your mind.
And this right here is a huge point. We're always told to concentrate, but that's like telling someone to be strong without ever giving them any weights to lift. See, meditation is the exercise. Concentration is the strength that you build from doing that exercise. You don't do concentration, you achieve it through meditation. And that practice leads to this really clear path. It's not magic, it's a process. You practice meditation every day. Through that practice, you start to develop the power of concentration. And then, with a concentrated mind, you can achieve something truly amazing called revelation.
Okay, so where does this all lead? It leads to this incredible power of revelation. But we're not talking about mystical visions or anything like that. We're talking about pure, unfiltered understanding.
And here is the key takeaway. Once your mind is trained to concentrate, you can point it at any subject, a history book, a tough engineering problem, even another person, and the inner truth of that subject is just instantly revealed to you. You don't just memorize facts anymore. You get a total grasp of the whole thing.
Now, to make this idea really concrete, there's a famous story from the Mahabharata about the great warrior Arjuna. The scene is this huge archery contest for the hand of a princess. And the task they were given was just impossibly difficult. The target was a little parrot on a spinning wheel, but the archers couldn't even look at it directly. They had to aim by looking down at its reflection in a pool of water. As you can imagine, archer after archer failed miserably.
So when Arjuna stepped up, his teacher asked him, "What do you see?" The others had said they saw the wheel or the sky or the whole parrot, but Arjuna's reply was totally different. He saw nothing else. His concentration was so total, so absolute, that the entire universe just vanished for him, except for his target. And of course, he hit it. That is the power of a concentrated mind.
Okay, so that's an amazing story, but that was an ancient warrior. How does any of this apply to us, right here, right now, in our busy modern lives? Let's tackle some of the practical questions.
This is the big one, isn't it? We're all so busy. I mean, who has the time to just sit there for half an hour every single day? The source material offers this brilliant kind of counterintuitive answer. A lack of time is usually just a symptom of an uncontrolled mind and poor time management. The more you train your mind with meditation, the more focused and efficient you become. The more you get done, the more time you actually seem to have.
And here's another one I think we can all relate to. That awful feeling of anxiety, that fear of failure you get right before a big test or a huge presentation.
The argument here is actually really simple. Fear comes from being unprepared. See, if you've only crammed a bunch of facts, you're terrified you'll get asked a question you didn't study for. But if you've used a concentrated mind to get a total grasp of the subject, you're ready for anything. You become fearless because you truly know.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate takeaway. Because this isn't just some study hack or a little productivity technique. It actually goes much, much deeper than that. And this is the final most important point. Training your mind is the most fundamental skill you can ever develop. It's what allows you to become the master of yourself, to connect with your own inner values, and to build not just a career, but a truly meaningful life. It's the foundation that everything else gets built on. And that leaves us with one final thought to reflect on. If all of that knowledge really is within us, just waiting behind a layer of dust, what incredible things are you capable of knowing right now if you just started cleaning the mirror?